Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are back today for Super Bowl Tuesday. Today feels like the Super Bowl. Today feels like the Super Bowl because tonight we got NXT versus AEW. And everyone's treating like it's the freaking Super Bowl. It feels like Super Bowl, but we're back here for another Morning Slam podcast live here on YouTube.com. On Spotify afterwards as well, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever they're called out there. I am on them. So we're back here for another podcast here today. And, we got a lot to cover, man. We got a lot to cover. We had a very, very good Raw last night. I will say great. A great Raw last night. We have also, on top of that as well, we're going to start off with NXT versus AEW. We also got some news and notes from both shows. There's been some additions to both shows, so we're going to be covering that. We got some Triple H news. Triple H news looks like he is nearly 100% head of creative. If you've been watching the shows, it's obvious that he's been head of creative, at least definitely on the Raw side of things, 100%. Brian Pillman Jr., a little update on him and his status in NXT. And we also got other news as well that we'll be covering here today. So really appreciate you guys coming out, checking me out. Be sure to follow me on X. Link is down below. My X is suspended. Whatever, but X is suspended. My Instagram's down below. Also, we'll be start posting on Threads. I didn't post on Threads last night. I was pretty busy with a few things, but I did catch Raw. Did catch The Spurs played last night too as well. Watch Wemby. Wemby looks great. In his first preseason game, he looks great. I think he played like 20-something minutes. He looks great. So, regardless of all that here, yeah, do those things for me. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, do all the YouTube stuff. And also as well, this podcast is sponsored by my company, Spine Buster Tees at spinebustertees.com. We have an array of shirts available for your pleasure. We have a lot of shirts, like I mentioned. The Pineapple Pizza t-shirt, Just Enjoy Wrestling t-shirt, Job of the Year, Hardcore Wrestling men's t-shirt. We also have those in women's and men's sizes. Also on tank tops. Take advantage of the fall sale going on. 10% off at checkout. And also as well, you do get free shipping with $40 and over. That's at Spine Buster Tees and spinebustertees.com. Sorry for the people who are listening on Spotify and Apple. Forgot to hit record on my Audacity, but we're at the beginning of the podcast, so you didn't really miss much. So you got to skip the intro. So, but anyway, let's talk about AEW, NXT. Like I said, opening the podcast, it feels like the Super Bowl tonight. And this, I put it to you this way. I never seen a weekly show, 2 weekly shows go up against each other that feels like the Super Bowl. Not even back in the Monday Night Wars, that this particular week feels like it's do or die. It's do or die. AEW made changes. WWE made changes. Let's go over the card. We'll start off with that. On NXT tonight. Well, just so you know, there's a lot of things that happen. There's a lot of things. So I'll just start from the top. WWE and AEW will both go head to head. Both shows will have a 30-minute commercial-free period at the beginning of the show. AEW has a 30-minute buy-in, which I have not seen on a regular AEW Dynamite in a long time. I think they only did it a handful of times, but they're doing it tonight. They have a 30-minute buy-in with Minoru Suzuki versus Eddie Kingston, which alone I'm going to check out myself. But NXT tonight, you have Carmelo Hayes versus Braun Breaker, with John Cena in Carmelo Hayes' corner and Paul Heyman in Braun Breaker's corner. Cody Rhodes has a major announcement. My assumption is it's the Dusty Cup. Fair enough. Asuka versus Roxanne Perez. You got Tyler Bate and the Brawling Brutes versus Gallus in a Pub Rules match. After what we saw at Raw last night in the Viking Rules match, I am not against that. And we most likely will be hearing from The Undertaker. As of right now, it looks like NXT looks very light on the card as far as in-ring wrestling. But you know they're going to add some stuff for... And that's not even including Becky Lynch or even the Judgment Day either with Dominic Mysterio. That's the other thing as well. But you know that there may be a surprise match or two in there. They're not going to get through 2 hours with, 3 scheduled matches. They need to add maybe 1 or 2 more in there. Okay? Dynamite tonight. Dynamite seems like it's fully stacked out. I don't see anything else that they can add on here for the 2 hours because, you know how AEW does. They like to have their long matches. You have Edge, Adam Copeland, in his debut AEW match versus Luchasaurus. You have MJF, who's going to be there, the AEW champion. You have Heyman Adam Page versus Jay White. You have Swerve versus Bryan Danielson. You have Rey Fenix versus Jon Moxley. This is nuts. Those first 4 matches are insane. Insane. Pay-per-view worthy. Saraya versus Shida. You got Will Hobbs versus Chris Jericho. Timeless Tony Storm segment. Then Eddie Kingston and Minoru Suzuki on the buy-in. Say this right off the bat. Right off the rip. AEW is going to be more wrestling and ring oriented. If that's your cup of tea, watch it. NXT is more of the moments, the in-ring segments, the promos. You're still going to get some good wrestling in there, right? You're not going to get bad wrestling, but that's all sprinkled in there. If that's your cup of tea, go for it. But I will say this. I'm going to be trying to watch both. I'm going to see if I can have two screens up at once. One on my phone, one on my big screen here for my on my computer here. May have it on my. It'd be better if I have it on my TV or so. But by TV, then on my computer screen here. Whenever I'm more interested in one, I'll just mute one. So I may have NXT right in front of me here on the computer screen. I may have AEW right here on my big T behind me. So at the end of the day, the fans win. The fans win. You know, a lot of people are saying NXT is going to slaughter AEW in the ratings tonight, which I agree 100%. I think NXT will probably get a 1.2 million when it's all said and done. I think a 1.2 million is something that is not out of reach for NXT. My personal opinion. It's definitely over $1 million. If they don't get over $1 million, this was a failure on the NXT side, in my opinion. I think a 1.2 million can happen. I really think so. I think 400,000. I think they can get 400,000 people to come watch just because Cody's there, Cena's there, Taker is most likely going to be there. Asuka's there, Paul Heyman's there, Judgment Day is probably going to be there indirectly. Becky Lynch should be there by default because she's the NXT Women's Champion. They shall all be there. So we'll see. But I will say this. What if, this is a very slim chance, but what if AEW beats NXT, and not only in the ratings, and as far as the demographic, because that's probably going to happen anyway, I think. Probably. I think they're going to be in the demographic regardless if it's close. But what if they beat them in total viewership? It doesn't matter if it's by 10,000 fans. It doesn't matter if it's by, 100,000 fans. What if NXT loses to AEW in the viewership? What does that right there will piss off a lot of WWE fans, and they still won't give AEW credit if they were happen to do that, right? They won't give AEW credit for anything. They don't give them credit for nothing. The only thing they like from AEW is the former WWE guys. Oh, I like Malachi Black. Oh, I like I like Swerve. Oh, I like, Adam Copeland. Oh, I like Christian. They only like the former WWE guys. Don't give the other guys a chance, or they just don't understand it, or, I mean, at the end of the day, it's their opinion, but still, it's like, it's like you're just liking the former WWE guys. But what if WWE loses to NXT? I'm sorry, loses to AEW. NXT loses to AEW in the ratings. It's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I just like to put that little caveat out there. But tonight is the Super Bowl. Tonight is the freaking Super Bowl. And the fact of the matter is that this is crazy. This is crazy. So we're going to be moving on from the shows themselves, and we're going to talk about Tony Khan for a second. Tony Khan last night was making announcements, saying we did get news in the afternoon yesterday that the first 30 minutes will be commercial free, and also as well, I forgot to mention, there is going to be a 10-minute overrun for AEW tonight as well. So and that's fair because that's matching with NXT because NXT gets an 8-minute overrun. So 2 minutes of Dynamite will be they're not going to be going up against NXT for 2 minutes. So that's going to be cool. That's going to be cool, I guess, for the last 2 minutes for AEW to get that little extra boost. But I will say this. Tony Khan went on social media last night, and he said, before a huge time-shifted Tuesday, AEW Dynamite is live tomorrow, Title Tuesday, with the first 30 minutes commercial-free on TBS Network. He announced the buy-in of Minoru Suzuki versus Eddie Kingston at 6:30 Central Time, 7:30 Eastern Time. and that's going to be like on YouTube and, everywhere, right? So he went on there, and there was a fan that posted, Tony Khan then immediately posted after that of a GIF. It looks like it was from, Jesus, what's that? Curb Your Enthusiasm? It's Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David, right? Curb Your Enthusiasm. He says, it's a GIF, and he says, okay, you want to be a dick. And it's like eating ice cream or whatever, right? A Twitter follower, ex-follower, says, we're not watching Bucko, with Seth Rollins looking kind of disgusted in his suit, right? So Tony Khan went back and says, okay, we won't see you tomorrow night for Title Tuesday. Hashtag AEW then. Then he posts a GIF of Roger Strong that says, who gives a fuck? He turns around and says, who gives a fuck? Right? From there, another Twitter follower in response to that GIF, he says, if Sir Vince McMahon said this, there would be many failed AEW fans crying nonstop and furious. Hashtag hypocrites. And Tony Khan says, if Sir Vince McMahon said this, it will be the least of his alleged misdeeds. Ooh, man. Petty Tony Khan. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. And he did the hashtag AEW Title Tuesday. Now, Tony Khan could have had a couple of drinks. Maybe could have been doing something else. I'm not going to say what here on the show. If you see the jokes online, you may know what I'll be talking about. But people forget today's his birthday. And he's feeling some type of way. And he really, as you should, right? As a boss of the second biggest wrestling promotion in the world, or in the United States at least, he really should be fucking pissed off. Now, remember, this all started from AEW coming to Tuesday. AEW coming to Tuesday, it was already known about. They announced Edge, Adam Copeland versus Luchasaurus because AEW was preempted for the MLB playoffs. WWE responds like, oh yeah? Okay, well, let's get John Cena and Braun Breaker. I'm sorry, John Cena and Paul Heyman. It just escalated from there to there to there to there to there to there to there. And this is where we're at now. So tonight's the Super Bowl. The feeling tonight is that whoever wins this war, when it's not even really about that. To me, I'm just enjoying it. I love this. I've been watching wrestling for over 30 years. And the fact of the matter is that this really feels like as close as it can be to a real WCW versus WWF, to me. Because in my lifetime, I haven't really felt like a single event. And plus, I was younger, too, as well, so I didn't really understand the business back then. I was like 19 years old. I didn't care. Like, I just wanted to see Sting and DDP and Goldberg on WCW and, and the Wolfpack. Then on WWF, I just wanted to see The Rock, Stone Cold, DX. You know what I mean? Taker, Foley, Kane. That's all I care about. I didn't really care about the business. But now, since I'm a man now, it just becomes your evolution of fandom, of knowing the business, knowing the backstage news, giving your opinion on it, and just being a smarter fan at the end of the day. But to me, I haven't felt like this since the 90s. I'll be honest. And if it's only for one night, so be it. I'm going to enjoy it. There's a lot of good stuff that's going to be enjoyed on both shows. This is what I hope. I hope that both shows get above their normal audience. I don't think that's going to happen. I think AEW potentially is going to get slaughtered tonight. Because you're going to get little Bimmy and Jimmy. Little Bimmy and Jimmy who's going to come in and, want to watch Cody Rhodes. See what Cody Rhodes has to say. He has a major announcement, Mom. Can I watch NXT? John Cena's going to be on NXT, Mom. Can I watch? I know I can only watch one wrestling show a week, but God, I don't watch NXT, but John Cena's going to be there. That's what it's going to be about. That's little Bimmy and Jimmy. Little Bimmy and Jimmy, they're going to end up watching NXT. So tonight's going to be something else. It definitely is. It definitely is going to be something else. I hope we all enjoy it at the end of the day. But man, oh man. A lot of people are going to be upset one way or the other. There's going to be a lot of toxic, pissy people online one way or the other, no matter what the results of this show is going to show up on Wednesday. Wednesday afternoon, around 3 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, and online in the IWC is going to be a bloodbath. No, both sides is going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a bloodbath if AEW is close and doesn't defeat NXT. It's going to be a bloodbath if AEW defeats NXT. It's going to be a bloodbath if NXT slaughters AEW in the ratings. It's going to be a bloodbath if AEW, I won't say slaughter, but comfortably overcomes NXT in the ratings. It is going to be a bloodbath at the end of the day. So let me know what your opinions about that is down below. I really am going to enjoy it. That's all I can really say. I really am going to enjoy it. I'll give you guys my results tomorrow. We'll talk about the review of the shows. We'll talk about which show I thought was better overall. We'll talk about, what I thought was possibly going to be the most viewed moment. We're going to be talking about all those things because, for sure, Meltzer and Alvarez and Sean Ross Sapp and, WrestleNomics on Twitter, that they're going to go breakdown by breakdown, quarter by quarter, segment by segment, and see what drew the most and what drew the least out of these shows. So that's tonight. That's tonight. And, yeah, man. What else more can we say about that? Unless we get more news about before the podcast ends here today. That's all I have to say about that for now until tomorrow morning. Monday Night Raw last night. Let's move on to Raw. I thought Raw was a great show last night. I thought Raw was really good last night. Really good last night. Triple H, Paul Levesque, you can tell that he is in charge. You can tell, and I think this show in particular that we saw last night was the most Triple H show that we've seen since the merger. You saw people like The Way on the show doing a little promo, like doing a little slight promo segment. They were on the show. They weren't a focus, but they got TV time. Kaden Carter and Katana Chance got a little bit of TV time as well. Xia Li wanted to challenge Becky Lynch last night. Got TV time. You seen people who we normally don't see on a regular basis get TV time. That is fantastic. You saw the backstage Easter eggs. How we used to have remember we used to have to pay attention what was going on backstage behind a promo that's right in front of us. Last night we had Adam Pearce and Ricochet, talking to each other. We'll talk about that. And in the background, you just see Rhea Ripley and Drew McIntyre still on the crate talking to each other. About what? I don't know. That is the intrigue with these shows, and that's definitely a Triple H show. Vince McMahon wouldn't have Xia Li on the show. Vince McMahon wouldn't have, Candice LeRae and Andy Hartwell on the show. Vince McMahon would not put on Kaden Carter or Katana Chance, right? You can tell what is a Vince McMahon-driven product versus a Paul Levesque Triple H product. And now, from what we hear before we actually get to the show, and I was actually going to bring this up too as well, Mike Johnson from PW Insider Elite said this yesterday, I think it was yesterday, but the report came out yesterday about Paul Levesque being in charge of creative. He says, on this one, I'm not completely sure, but I want to bring it up because it's one reason there has been some backstage atmosphere morale boosting of late in WWE. There's been a belief among wrestlers and people in the company that Paul Levesque has pretty much been knighted by Endeavor, and he's gonna be the one driving 99.9% of the creative going forward is not Vince McMahon. And that's Mike Johnson coming from PW Insider Elite. And, look, you gotta not be paying attention. You don't need a report like that. I'm glad that we got confirmed, somewhat. Yeah, I mean, there's belief, but it's not confirmed per se. But you don't have to, get Mike Johnson to tell you that when you already know by watching the show, if you've been paying attention to the show, ever since the merger, and I've been saying this ever since I started this podcast last Monday, ever since the merger, you can tell that this is more of a Paul Levesque Triple H product. You can see it. And I've been saying this too as well prior to this podcast, because I do another podcast, with my friend. It's called the Drew Yari Experience. He changed it. It was Drew Yari show, but the Drew Yari Experience. You can find out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that stuff if you want to check that out. I'm on there every week, so. But you can tell since the merger that Paul Levesque has been more in charge, and you can see it. You can feel it. You can see with Monday Night Raw over the last few weeks, especially as my micro brawler dropped to the floor there. You can tell that over the last few weeks since the merger, that Raw has been a really good show. It's been a really good show, just by the new people that they're putting on there. Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed's about to get a freaking title shot next week against Gunther. You think that would have happened if Vince McMahon was there? Tommaso Ciampa got a Intercontinental Championship shot, and now he's back with Giant Gargano in DIY. You think DIY would have been back on TV with each other without, Triple H being in charge fully? So this is a great thing. This is a great thing at the end of the day for what is going on in WWE. It's going to lead to a great Survivor Series. It's going to lead to a great Royal Rumble. It's going to lead to a great WrestleMania. And this hopefully should be the first WrestleMania that Triple H is fully in charge. Last year was fully in charge for a little bit, for about 6 months, 5-6 months. Vince came back at the beginning of the year, and you can tell that he was in control of certain things, not of everything. Triple H still had control of, I would say, maybe about 70% Triple H, 30 Vince. But Vince definitely did have influence on some things. WrestleMania ended up being a great WrestleMania anyway, but now we got Triple H fully in charge as of right now, and I hope it stays that way for good. We don't need Vince in charge of creative. He does not need to be in charge of creative. Leave Vince McMahon to the business. Vince McMahon is perfect for the business. He's still an asset to WWE. He will be great for the business. Have him do all the negotiation for contract talks for TV rights and things of that nature. That's what Vince is great at. He's the GOAT at that. He's the GOAT at that. So Triple H seems to be in fully charge on WWE TV for creative. So that's great. All right, let's move on to Raw. Raw started off last night with a Seth Rollins promo. Seth Rollins promo comes out with his music, does his whoa, 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 everyone's singing him song, right? And, Seth says that he's going to be still your fighting champion, right? But at first he did say that, after the match against Shinsuke Nakamura, he says when the adrenaline wears off, he's got to deal with the reality and that his back is still much very broken. He said he's going to level with us. He says being our world champion has been one of the great honors of his career. The fans broke out in a big thank you Rollins chant. And he says, I'm just getting started. Then all of a sudden, he says he's going to still be your fighting champion. Then all of a sudden, Drew McIntyre comes out. And, McIntyre says that he wasn't out here to jump Seth Rollins, right? He says he does not want a title match against Seth Rollins tonight. He says he wants him to be as close to 100% as possible. He says he was thinking Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for a title match at Crown Jewel. McIntyre goes to leave, and Rollins wants to continue the party, but is attacked from behind by Damian Priest. Dominic Mysterio tries to run out with the Money in the Bank briefcase, but Drew McIntyre stops him, then headbutts him, and the commentators was pointing out that that Priest was clearly trying to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase now, which was the end of the segment right there. I love this segment. I love the emergence of Drew McIntyre emerging into a heel. And I'm going to tell you why. Drew does not want to face off against a 100% Seth Rollins, even though he's saying that. He's saying that in a way as a condescending way. Like, we can see that, you know, if you're watching this, we can see that Drew McIntyre really doesn't want Seth Rollins 100%. He just wants to win the world title. And he knows the easiest way to win the world title. He's like, okay, you know what? I don't have the Money to Make briefcase, but let me come out to the ring and let me see if I can try and challenge Seth for Crown Jewel, for a big stage. So the whole world can see me beat down Seth Rollins and me hurt Seth Rollins. I love this. I love this. He stopped, and he also stopped Dominic Mysterio, because if he has this match against Seth Rollins at Crown Jewel, which was already announced, he won't get a world title shot. He won't get a world title shot against Damian Priest. He'll just have a regular one-on-one match against Seth Rollins. So this, to me, is great. This, to me, is how you can book somebody like Drew McIntyre to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, at the end of the day, he's not winning the World Heavyweight Championship. We can stop that right now. Drew McIntyre is not winning the World Heavyweight Championship at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. The more likely scenario, which I still don't think is going to happen, but the more likely scenario is Damian Priest cashing in after the match and winning the World Heavyweight Championship. That is the more likely scenario. But this here is really just to get Drew McIntyre. This feud is really going to solidify Drew McIntyre as a heel. And this is also going to start that tease. Now the story permits of Damian Priest trying to cash in Money in the Bank. Now the story permits, because he doesn't have a title no more. He's feeling desperate. He doesn't have the tag team championships no more with Finn Balor. So Damian Priest is at his all high time desperation level. He wants a title belt, and he wants the title belt on Raw, which is the World Heavyweight Championship. So, if you were to ask me Saturday, like, hey, Damian Priest should cash in? No. The story doesn't permit for that. Now the story permits for that. I don't mind if he cashes in. The question is, should he win it? That remains to be seen. I'll let you guys know in a couple of weeks on how I feel about that. I still got to see more than what we saw on Monday. But the story permits. I will definitely want to see that change happen. Because I think right now that a lot of people are getting fatigued on Seth Rollins being champion. Seth Rollins' backstory is good. It's a good story, showing that he can overcome the odds, just like Orange Cassidy in AEW, right, when he was the international champion. His body was all messed up, and his body was breaking down, and it took Jon Moxley at All Out to defeat him. After a valiant effort. I feel the same way is going to happen with Seth Rollins once Seth Rollins goes up against someone either like Gunther. I think Gunther is probably going to take the title off of him at WrestleMania. Or Damian Priest can take the title off of him a little bit. Maybe he wins it, at Saudi. Then maybe at Royal Rumble, Seth takes it back. Then Seth goes into WrestleMania against Gunther. I could see something like that happening. I can definitely see something like that happening. But at the end of the day, though, we got Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins confirmed for Crown Jewel. Next, we have our opening contest scheduled for one fall. We have the Viking Rules match, Kofi Kingston versus Ivar. The New Day and the Viking Raiders. This feud has been awesome, minus Eric. This has been awesome. This is what you do with your tag team division. You get two teams to feud against each other, to have it make sense at the end of the day on why they're feuding against each other, and whoever wins this feud is better off for it. Now, in this case, Eric's injured from the Viking Raiders. They want to push Ivar as a singles guy, and you can clearly see why. I'm not saying Ivar should win the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm not even saying he should beat Gunther, but have him as a monster on the show, as guys he can beat up. That's fine. That's fine. You know what I mean? But this match here was great. Kofi Kingston at the beginning did a dive over the ropes. I got scared because he almost landed on his head on the outside. That was kind of scary. He didn't clear the ropes as he normally does, so that was a little scary there. I got flashbacks from Big E for a second there. Ivar was throwing Kofi Kingston into the shields, into the Viking shields on the outside. This wins commercial break, and we come back and we see Kingston in the offensive driver's seat until Ivar hits him with a big spinning slam to shift the momentum back in his favor. Kingston takes over moments later, and after grabbing the beard of Ivar, he throws Ivar, launches him. There's a table set up on the outside, launches him through the table. The table exploded. It was like it was in 2K23. Like, the table just was in a million pieces on the outside. And I knew that bumps. I know Ivar's a big boy, but that bump still had to suck. So he gets launched to the outside. Table explodes everywhere. Then out of nowhere, Valhalla launches. She wasn't even there originally on the outside, I think, but she came out of nowhere. She launches herself onto Kofi Kingston, onto the floor, and takes him out. And she looked like like Gollum for a second, just on just how her stance was. But Xavier Woods runs down, and the referees hold him back. Valhalla charges at Woods, who Woods ducks, and she falls over the timekeeper's area. And Ivar then cross bodies Woods onto the timekeeper's area where Woods was sitting at after he ducked down from Valhalla. So he cross bodies Woods into the barricade. Kingston attacks Ivar from behind and puts him back into the ring. Kofi was looking for trouble in paradise. Ivar catches him and puts him through a table, leaning in the corner. Ivar climbs up to the top rope and hits him with a huge moonsault for the 1-2-3 victory in the opening match for a very damn good Viking Rules match. I like it. I love it. I love when they're trying new things and they have matches. There has not been one bad Viking Rules match. Every single one of them has been great. Every single one of them has been great. So, Ivar gets the win here. He is on a momentum boost for the singles division. You know what I mean? We'll see where he goes from there. Maybe we'll see him versus Gunther soon. That'll be good. I'll be game for that. Next, we see Shinsuke Nakamura backstage. And we see Byron Saxton being interviewed by Shinsuke Nakamura being interviewed by Byron Saxton. What the hell am I saying? He asked him about coming up short in the last man standing match against Seth Rollins. Nakamura was not speaking. He was very quiet. He was asked about his future goals. Nakamura didn't respond. Ricochet, I think he said, "Hey, bitch," or something like that. He's like, "Hey, bitch." He runs out of nowhere. He starts attacking Nakamura. Then a ton of backstage officials broke them up. So, and this continued later in the night too as well, where we'll talk about that. Next, we have Raquel Rodriguez versus Nia Jax. Nothing to talk about here. This is the weakest point of the show. Nia Jax being back on TV still, even though Triple H is fully back in charge, this was clearly a Vince McMahon hire, because this was the last thing we saw on Vince McMahon's WWE Raw before how should I say, getting this Triple H initiative now back on TV. But regardless, though, this and no contest. We saw Shayna Baszler comes out. We saw who came out first? Was it Rhea Ripley or was it Shayna Baszler? Rhea Ripley. No, Rhea Ripley comes out first. Comes out to the ring, beats down Jackson and Rodriguez for a sec. Then all of a sudden we see Shayna Baszler comes out. She attacked Rhea Ripley and hits Rhea Ripley with a nice knee to the chin. Beautiful knee to the chin. And Baszler stands tall at the end of all that. So in no contest. Seth Rollins confronts Drew McIntyre backstage. So we see Drew McIntyre. In comes Seth Rollins to tell him the good news that he just spoke with Adam Pearce and their title match is official for Crown Jewel. Rollins then asks McIntyre what's his problem. Rollins brings up getting attacked by Damian Priest from behind, and McIntyre just stood by and did nothing. McIntyre reiterates what he told the New Day and others, which is that if it doesn't directly involve him or his business, he's not getting involved. It's fucking great. Rollins tells him he can't take his title off of him. So that tension is brewing. The character is building for Drew McIntyre. He'll turns incoming. He's not being Seth Rollins at Crown Jewel, but I appreciate the character change. I appreciate what they're doing with them, and I appreciate on how everything is, like, what they're doing with Drew McIntyre is not perfect, but is good enough for me. Next, we have an interview with Michael Cole and main event Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. Let's see here. Before we do that, that's weird. They put this out of order here. Before that, we'll talk about Shayna Baszler real quick. We see Jackie Redmond backstage with Shayna Baszler. She has to comment on what happened. She says she doesn't care what is going on, with who. When she's standing in the ring, she's the best woman on the planet. And she says that this is my ring too as well. Kind of gives me I won't say teasing Jade Cargill, but it kind of gives you that little, that little thing, like, okay, maybe Jade is closer to debuting than I realized, but she didn't come out last night, so maybe I'm overthinking that. So main event Jey Uso comes out, Cody Rhodes comes out. Then we see Michael Cole in the ring. Michael Cole's in the ring and they're with them interviewing the new tag team champions, undisputed tag team champions. Cole asked Cody about finishing his story, and if his content and where he's at now as one half of the tag team champions, or is he nervous about trying his chances against Roman Reigns one more time? He doesn't want to let anyone down. I love this question. I love the questions that Michael Cole is asking here. The questions that Michael Cole was asking Cody Rhodes needed to be done. We need to know why. We know why Jey Uso is on Monday Night Raw, but who is going to SmackDown? We still haven't got that answer yet. Who knows? Maybe Cody announces tonight on NXT that, hey, I'm going to SmackDown. I doubt that. I just really think it's going to be about the Dusty Cup, which is fine. But, they're teasing that major announcement. So, that's why we're checking in, right? But Cody says that he's proud of being one half of the tag team champions. Cole re-asked the question, bringing up how close he was to capturing the big one and becoming a world champion, just like his dad, Dusty Rhodes. Cody gets emotional because it's Cody Rhodes and thinks before he can speak. Sami Zayn old new theme plays by mistake. It was by mistake because his regular theme was played at the main event. But Sami Zayn themes comes out. He comes out to his heel theme. Comes to the ring with Kevin Owens. He mentions having not heard that theme in a while, so we knew that was a botch. I knew it was a botch at that point as soon as he mentioned it. It's like, oh, I haven't heard that theme in a while. So it was pretty much, hey, guys, you fucked up in the back. Like, what's going on? So, yeah, I don't even know why you still have that theme on their playlist or whatever. Like, should they be removing that? That's kind of weird, but regardless, Zayn brings up being a former tag champion with Owens, being Jay and his brother, Jimmy Uso, in the main event of WrestleMania to get them. He then gives Jay and Cody props for beating one of the hottest teams in the game in the Judgment Day to get them. He says that's the story they're telling right now, and congratulates Cody on winning them. Sammy then directs some comments to Jey Uso, bringing up their past and telling him he's proud of him as well. He mentions a heavy mix of emotions because he wants those titles back. And this is what I mentioned on the not the preview, but the review of Fastlane yesterday. On yesterday's podcast, I'm like, well, with Cody and Jay winning, this leads to a story with Kevin and Sammy. And Kevin is the one that doesn't trust Jey Uso. And Sammy, who does trust Jey Uso. But the major story with them is like, hey, they want their titles back. And that's what this was all about. That's what this segment was all about. That's what the main event was all about. I thought I was maybe a little too quick to tell the story, but hey, they need to get in motion for Survivor Series and War Games. So with it all happening last night, I'm not too upset with that. So, you know, but Owens says he doesn't have mixed emotions because he wants those titles back and nothing else. Great line from Kevin Owens. He says he'd like to challenge them to a title match right here tonight. Owens says here's the problem. He knows if he does, they won't accept because Jey Uso can't handle the thought of losing those titles to them twice. Cody holds Jey back and says they're all friends here, or at least he thinks they are. Cody says Kevin is wrong, but they do accept. He says they don't need to wait. They can do it tonight on Raw, that becomes your Raw main event. So, great stuff. I love how they got the story out there for this. And also in addition to all this as well, I guess in a way, it kind of, the one thing I will say is that with Kevin Owens, he accepts Jey Uso so easily at the end of the show. Kind of makes me think there's a little bit more there than meets the eye. Kind of makes me think that Kevin Owens, I don't know if he's fully genuine yet with Jey Uso. It seemed like at the end of the show, maybe I'm kind of looking at it too much, but I don't know. Something kind of sticks me right here in the heart where I'm like, oh no, I don't really trust Kevin Owens here, especially at the end of the show last time. But we got to see what happens next week. We got to see what the story is being told there. But they all have to be on the same page regardless for Survivor Series and War Games. So they got to be on the same page for that. But we have our next match, triple threat match for a shot, number one contenders match for the Intercontinental Championship. We have Ricochet versus Bronson Reed versus Chad Gable. Before that, we go backstage and see Otis chopping Chad Gable, who says thank you each time. He's getting his body ready to become the number one contender to the Intercontinental Championship. Bronson Reed comes up, thick boy. Bronson Reed comes up and says Gable isn't getting anywhere near the IC title. He says he already beat him in Ricochet and tells him not to bring his daughter because it's going to be another heartbreak for her. He walks off laughing. Gable tells Otis to hit him again. I thank you. We go back inside the arena and the match entrances started. Ricochet themes happens. He makes his way to the ring, but immediately is attacked from behind by Shinsuke Nakamura. Nakamura lays Ricochet out with the Kinshasa. And tons of officials run out to hold back Nakamura. They help Ricochet up as they go to commercial break, which this does lead to a Falls Count Anywhere match with Shinsuke Nakamura and Ricochet next week on Raw. I'm glad that they're not giving up on Nakamura that easy. I'm glad that Nakamura is going to get his heat back against Ricochet next week because he's probably going to beat Ricochet most likely. We'll see. After we come back from commercial break, hold on. I lost my. Okay, here we go. Come back from commercial break, and we see Ricochet has been recovered and he's in the ring. Bronson Reed comes out, then Chad Gable comes out to the ring as well. Bell sounds, matches on the way. Early on, we both see Gable and Ricochet go after Reed. Reed beats Ricochet down, and Gable goes to work on the big man. The action spills on the floor, where Gable hits a big suplex, yells, "Thank you." We go to a commercial break. After we come back from break, we see Reed back to dominate again. He stacks Ricochet and Gable on his back, on his shoulders, and ragdolls them both down to the mat. I don't like the wording that they put here. But Ricochet fires up after Reed is knocked to the floor, hits a big splash, and a standing shooting star press for a near fall. We see Gable for a suplex off the top rope, but Ricochet flips over and lands on his feet. Reed takes them out and then comes on top rope for a tsunami splash, and he does tsunami splash to both of them. With the win, Reed challenges Gunther for the IC title next week. It was a good match. I mean, when you have these three caliber wrestlers in the ring, it's not going to be a bad match at all. There's no way whatsoever that this could be a bad match. But Reed wins. We get Gunther next week. He gets Gunther next week for the IC championship. This is going to be awesome. Bronson Reed is going to show why he can be a future Intercontinental champion, why he can be a potential main event player in the next 3 to 5 years. If he's still with WWE in the next 3 to 5 years, he can be a main event player. This guy is incredible for his size. He has the most protective finisher in WWE with the Tsunami Splash. No one kicks out of that. It's the Tsunami Splash and it's the One Wing Angel from Kenny Omega as the most protective finishers in wrestling right now. They're just great. And you could probably say maybe the End of Days from Baron Corbin, but it's kind of protected, but not as much. But anyway, Gunther, Bronson Reed, big meaty man slapping meat next week. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. Potentially, it could be better than Bronson Reed and Tommaso. Bronson Reed and Gunther could be better than Gunther and Tommaso Ciampa. Possibly. We'll see. But Bronson Reed is your new number one contender. Moving on. Xia Li confronts Becky Lynch backstage. We see Jackie Redmond, who's been busy last night. She catches up with Becky Lynch. She talks about her new memoir coming out, and then mentions how tonight is the biggest opportunity in Tegan Knox's career. She mentions being wounded like a bear and tells Knox to bring it on. As she continues to talk, Xia Li, who we are not seeing on TV and God knows how long, comes up and she says that she's next. And she also did mention as well. Oh, I got the line here. Hold on. Let me get it real quick. Xia Li said, where the heck is it? She says, I want a chance. I want a chance. Xia Li wants a chance. I would give Xia Li a chance. I don't simp a lot to some of these WWE women. Even though they all look, great. But Xia Li's, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, should I give you a chance? You know what I'm saying? Like, rubbing my hands together for that. Yeah, Xia Li though. Yeah, she's S tier. But moving on, that was backstage interview. It's great to see Xia Li back on TV, and we're probably gonna see an NXT Championship match between Xia Li and Becky Lynch on Raw, sooner rather than later. So that's good. That's good. Good for her. She deserves it. She hasn't been on TV. She hasn't really had a chance, right? I know she's green in the ring still. I know she's green, but just give her a chance. Give her a chance. See what she can do. See if she develop or not. You know what I mean? As far as her in ring skills, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see on that. Drew McIntyre versus JD McDonough. Earlier in the show, and I don't know why I didn't see this. We saw the Judgment Day. We came after commercial break, and we saw one of the commercial breaks, and we saw Damian Priest holding up JD McDonough on the wall, and JD McDonough's being choked and all that stuff. And basically, long story short, the Judgment Day was like, hey, you got to handle Drew McIntyre tonight. Handle Drew McIntyre tonight, and we'll see. We'll see, where you sit in the Judgment Day. So Rhea was like, hey, get out of here. And Finn was, hey, get out of here. And, of course, Damian Priest hates JD McDonough. So what is it going to take to get JD McDonough to be part of Judgment Day? I don't know. He's still going through the ropes right now. But JD McDonough versus Drew McIntyre. And we see that the commentators, the bell sounds off, the match is on the way, but the commentators remind us that Rhea Ripley told McDonough to handle Drew tonight to prove himself to the Judgment Day. So Drew starts off with strong offense on JD. Then JD, he retreats to the floor. JD gets back in the ring, but he does get some help from Dominic Mysterio. The fight spills out to the floor where Dom runs Drew into the ring post. This is just very short notes for this match. But it was a short match, too, as well. Back in the ring, we see, and JD, he did get, so let's say this, they didn't put this in, but JD did get some offense in. He did a chop block to Drew McIntyre. He did a spinning leg whip to Drew McIntyre, so he was doing some offense there, which looked very good on him. He didn't, it wasn't like, incapacitation offense, but it wasn't anything big or huge, or he didn't hit anything huge on him, but he did get some offense in. But inside the ring, though, McIntyre hits a future shock DDT, and he hits him with the Claymore, gets a 1-2-3 pinfall. Mommy says Mommy isn't going to be happy about this one. But we do see Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley watching on the backstage. Ripley tells Priest before he does anything to JD, she's got an idea. So she walks off, and we go to commercial break. After that, we see DIY. DIY is back in the tag team division, and all of a sudden now, the WWE tag team division is, at least on Raw, is getting very healthy. You got Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. You got the Judgment Day, any combination Judgment Day that you want to do. You got the New Day. You got Imperium. You got, once Eric comes back, you got the Viking Raiders. You got DIY now. That's 6 solid teams there for a division. Not really 6. It's really more of 5-ish. Because Cody and Jey Uso, they're not a tag team. So really 5-ish with the Judgment Day. 5-ish. But I don't really think maybe they could maybe do Finn and JD McDonough once he officially joins the group. But 5-ish tag teams in the division, which is still good. Still good. Oh yeah, and also Alpha Academy as well. How can I forget about them too as well? You know what I mean? So yeah, still around 6. But anyway. You got DIY backstage. They were being interviewed by Wade Barrett, and we see the recently reunited DIY duo of Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. They're doing their interview itself, and they were ambushed by Imperium of Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser. They attacked them, beat them up, and they leave them laying and walk off. So that is going to be your first DIY feud, which is Imperium versus DIY. Take my fucking money. That can be, a NXT Tag Team Championship match 4 or 5 years ago on NXT, black and gold. Take my money. Tegan Nox versus Becky Lynch. Good stuff. Good stuff from Tegan Nox in this match. This match wasn't too long, but this match here should prove why Tegan Nox should be on TV more. Do I think that this made Tegan Nox? No. Does it make her? She was off TV for, a damn near the full year almost, not doing anything at all. And the fact that, she's back on TV and, she's gaining a little bit of a momentum now is good. It's good. It's going to take more than just a Becky Lynch one-on-one match, a very good one-on-one match, to push and to recover Tegan Nox. She still has a while to go. This was a good start, though. This was a good start. But yeah. So, after some early back and forth action, let me try to miss anything here. Well, before that, Tegan Nox made her entrance, go to commercial break because WWE, they're kind of weird about how they do this, but they come back to commercial break. Before the match, we see Rick Sage upset backstage with Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce approaches him and announces a Falls Count Anywhere match between Shinsuke Nakamura and Ricochet next week for the sub-season premiere special episode of Monday Night Raw. In the back, you did see Rhea Ripley and Drew McIntyre speaking to each other. About what? Who knows? Apparently, maybe it's about JD McDonough. I don't know. Or maybe War Games can include Drew McIntyre instead of JD McDonough. It could be that too as well. I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. So, but the match of Raw with Becky Lynch, Tegan Nox, that match was good. Early back and forth action, we see Lynch settle into the offensive driver's seat. She takes Tegan Nox to the outside. Nox starts to shift the momentum, the offensive momentum in her favor. She works on the injured arm of Lynch, which you've seen like the stitches of Becky Lynch. It just looks grotesque. Her stitches, it just looks bad. Not in a good way either. It's just disgusting. But she was working on Lynch's injured arm, sends her crashing out to the floor on the outside. We go to commercial break. We come back from break where we see Nox still in control of things. Lynch starts to fight back and looks for a disarmer submission. Nox avoids it. Lynch and Nox head to the top rope. Nox hangs Lynch upside down in the tree of woe. She runs and splashes up like a backsplash onto her as she's hanging upside down in the corner. She goes for the cover, but Lynch kicks out it. Nox slaps the disarmer on Lynch, cranking away at the injured arm of the man. Lynch ends up escaping. She goes for the manhandle slam, but Nox avoids it. Lynch hits a massive drop kick off the top rope. She gets the disarmer in, and Lynch makes Tegan Nox taps out, where Becky Lynch will face off against Lyra Valkyria at Halloween Havoc. So there you go there. But good match. This helps Tegan Nox. Does it make Tegan Nox? No, it doesn't make her. She's not a bona fide star now, 100%. But this mini story, got exposure to Tegan Nox, and I hope that fans see Tegan Nox as an asset. Now it's up to WWE, it's up to Triple H to keep pushing her in some fashion too as well. You know what I mean? Because that was the NXT, division match, right? But she went up against Becky Lynch. Now let's see if she can try to get some wins. So we'll see. Rhea Ripley demands a match for next week. We see Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell in the locker room of Adam Pearce, and how DIY were doing after the attack from Imperium. Rhea Ripley walks in and demands that they leave. They ended up leaving. Ripley tells Pearce she wants him wants him to get her women's division in order. Ripley tells Pierce she wants Shayna Baszler 1-1 for next week's show. She tells him to make it happen. As she walk off, go to commercial break, and from there, we see after we come back from break, we see Tegan Nox backstage upset, losing. We see Natalya walk up to her. Then we also see Kay Carter and Katana Chance walk up to her. Then all of a sudden we see Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, which I love Chelsea Green. She's awesome. She's just great. Green mocks them for having a pity party for Tegan Nox, and then threatens Natty to never get involved in her business. Natty asks what happens if she does. Piper, and obviously you see Chelsea like help me, help, come here, I need help. Piper Niven says then she'll have to deal with her. So next week we get Piper Niven versus Natty on the season premiere of Raw. Not really looking forward to the match, but hey, maybe it'll be a surprise good match. Then we get our main event of Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, the new WWE Undisputed Tag Team Champions versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. One thing that was not in the notes here, and I'm not gonna go through this entire match here. I'm just not. It's way too much to read here. But I will say this because I only got 25 minutes left here. But I will say this: there was a vignette for Giovanni Vinci. Is it gonna be going on a singles role soon? I don't know, but kind of aware of him having a random vignette on the show. Damn good vignette. And not Giovanni Vinci, Ludwig Kaiser. Sorry. Ludwig Kaiser, Marcel Bartel. And the best thing about this is they were playing Swan Lake. I'm a huge classic Universal Studios horror fan. And they're playing Swan Lake from Dracula, the original Dracula in 1931, Bela Lugosi. If that's going to be his new theme song, if he happens to go, either babyface or heel, it's probably most likely going to be a heel because he deserves to be a heel. And that's what this vignette says. If he has a singles run, then I am all for it. Please give him Swan Lake. Please give him Swan Lake as his theme song. Hashtag Kaiser Swan Lake theme. Get it going on social media. You heard it here first. Appreciate everyone who's watching here on the live stream here. If you haven't already, leave a thumbs up here. We have about between 6 and 7 people watching. But if you're here right now, if you've been watching, leave a thumbs up. Very much so, we appreciate it. We'll help the podcast for sure. But this match here, the main event, great main event. Great main event. A lot of back and forth action. A lot of near falls. We saw obviously a nice Blue Thunder Bomb from I was gonna say Cody Rhodes, not Cody Rhodes, from Sami Zayn. Almost got a 3 count there, but we saw super kicks. We saw more super kicks than what we see in a normal Young Bucks match. Saw super kicks in this match. We saw the 1D Cody Cutter, or the Cody Cutter 1D, whatever they're calling it. And still, your WWE Tag Team Champions is Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. Very, 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 very good match. What can I say about a match like this? A good TV match, you just gotta go watch it yourself. That's pretty much it. You just gotta go watch yourself. But it was a very good TV match. And at the end, Zayn shakes hands with both champions, and Owens does the same thing. And that could be your 4 in Survivor Series, possibly. Is there gonna be a 5th? Possibly. If it's CM Punk, that could be a possibility as well. But I don't know. I think the right way to return CM Punk is possibly doing a 5-on-5 Survivor Series match. You got the Judgment Day with JD McDonough. So you have JD McDonough, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Drew McIntyre. Versus Cody, Jay, Sammy, Kevin, and a returning CM Punk. How would you like that? That 5-on-5, that 10-man. That would be legendary if they do that. Legendary. But Raw, great show. Fantastic. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. Last night. There were some things that was kind of with the Nia Jackson, the Raquel Rodriguez, but overall, great show. That was Monday Night Raw, people. Moving on. Brian Pillman Jr. Let's talk about Brian Pillman Jr. for a second. It looks like he's getting a new name, and a lot of people on social media are super upset about it. As am I'm not. We know that it's Brian Pillman Jr. It's cool. It's fine. Ron Breaker, same thing. It's cool. It's fine. We're going to get used to it. It's okay. It may sound stupid now, but there's a reason behind it. PW Insider reports that Brian Pillman Jr. won't get to keep his name when arriving in due time on NXT. The word around the Performance Center, and that's not to mention as well, Brian Pillman Jr. may show up tonight too. The word around the Performance Center was that the new Lexis King name, ring name that was trademarked by WWE, was earmarked for Pillman. And the reason why he's called Lexis King, why is it random? Why is it so random? Regarding the name Lexis King, Alexis Pillman was his sister who unfortunately passed away. So there you go, Lexis. And King is Skylar King, is another one of his sisters. Everyone knows him as Brian Pillman Jr. Here's my thoughts. Everyone knows him as Brian Pillman Jr. So if him coming back as Brian Pillman Jr. would have been fine. I'm not saying anything wrong with that. Would have been fine. But Lexis King, for him to honor his sisters, one of them passed away. We know that Brian Pillman passed away. We know about that. We know him as Brian Pillman Jr. But for him to honor one of his sisters in his new venture in wrestling, and also to have one of his sisters, I guess middle name. I'm assuming King is her middle name, Skylar King. I'm assuming King's her middle name. As in his wrestling name, I think that's great. That's great. We're gonna get used to it. That's fine. It's okay. He wants to acknowledge, his sisters, and people are out there on social media like, well, they're not acknowledging him as Brian Pillman's dad or son. Brian Pillman is his dad. Why they're not acknowledging him? Well, they are. They already are with the vignettes. They already are with the vignettes. They already are. You can already see him wearing the tiger t-shirt. They already are. So, calm your tits. Calm down. Let the new name get over. And we're going to be fine with that at the end of the day. We're getting used to Braun Breaker. It's cool. I even at first time was like, oh man, they changed his name from Walter to Gunther. This is terrible. But we're calling him Gunther now. Gunther, the ring, da-da-da. We're saying that. So, it's going to be fine. Ludwig Kaiser's okay. Giovanni Vinci's okay. We get used to the new names. It's fine. It's fine. The only one that really kind of was like, ooh, Max Dupree, like, oh, God, he's LA Knight. Even before that, everyone's like, oh, my God, LA Knight's a stupid name. LA Knight's a dumb name. He's Eli Drake, yeah. And now LA Knight is more known than Eli Drake has ever been in the grand scheme of things to the casuals. So, it's fine. We're going to get used to it. It's okay. He's honoring his sisters. It's fine. Like, if you got a problem with that, take a walk. Like, if you got a problem, and also as well, they cannot trademark Brian Pillman Jr. They cannot trademark his real name. They like to trademark everything. I don't know how you're watching this podcast and not understanding that. WWE likes to trademark everything. Everything. Lexis King is going to be trademarked. It's cool. It's fine. If he were to leave WWE, which I don't see, if he becomes a star, I don't see. But if he were to leave WWE, he'd be Brian Pillman Jr. again. And it's cool. It's easier. And it's easier once he retires. It's going to be so easy for him to be Brian Pillman Jr., FKA Lexis King. It's simple. Simple enough. So, but Brian Pillman Jr. will be now known as Lexis King, apparently. Reportedly. Moving on to New Japan. New Japan. Not Stardom per se, but New Japan. This is coming from Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer newsletter. And it's about Mercedes Moné. And he says, I think the date of her, Mercedes Moné, comeback probably isn't so far away. The plan is Julia and Mercedes for the New Japan's women's title as soon as possible. I will love to see this. Julia, one of the best women's wrestlers in the world today, versus Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné. Take my fucking money. If you have not seen Julia, go out, see some clips of her on YouTube. Watch like a 3 or 4 minute clip of her, or find somewhere on Twitter. She's great. She's fantastic. She is one of those women who can fit like a glove in either AEW or WWE, but I would love to see her in WWE because I think WWE will use her full potential. Mercedes, we know everything about Sasha Banks. Like, she's on her way back. She was injured. She got injured versus Willow Nightingale. And I just really think that this will be a great comeback match for her. Now, will she win the title back immediately? Because Julia, she was the Stardom champion for like over a year. I think it was like a year and a half she was champion. So, I don't know. We'll see. But it seems like Mercedes Moné fans out there, Sasha Banks fans out there, she is on her way back apparently. And we got 2 short news stories before we close out this podcast today. This comes from Better Wrestling Experience. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, Imperium, DIY, will all push for a tag team title match. This will also carry on with the SmackDown teams. And I mean, if you're sleeping under a rock of what you saw last night on Raw, like, you could tell the tag team division is being pushed. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But I mean, it's nothing more than what I said earlier. But this is just to confirm that the tag team division is being focused on right now. Imperium and DIY, they're gonna have their feud. Whoever wins that feud, most likely DIY, will probably be in contention for the tag team titles. And I think DIY right now is in contention of taking the titles off of Cody and Jay. If they take the titles off of Cody and Jay Uso, that puts them over as a top-tier tag team. Because you beat 2 of the hottest singles babyfaces right now. But can 2 of the hottest singles babyfaces right now beat a real tag team of DIY? I mean, they did beat Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, but Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I consider them a real tag team because they're a tag team in Ring of Honor. So there you go. But we'll see how that goes. And our last story today. It's a not strange last story, but it's not a story that most people care about. But it's my last story here. The Grizzled Young Veterans are expected to leave WWE this weekend as their contracts expire. This weekend here, as in this weekend of the 15th of October. The belief is that the team will be based out of the U.S. going forward. It's coming from Fightful Select and PW Insider. There are multiple companies interested in both the United States and for the team in the United States and Europe. I think that the Grizzled Young Veterans will be great in Impact. I think AEW, I think it's too crowded in AEW. I don't think they'll get pushed in AEW. I think they can win the tag team titles in Impact. They are an amazing tag team. They don't get enough credit at all for them being used. I'm wondering why they won't stay now. I think they want to go back on the word for them leaving, because of the fact that they told. I mean, this was like as of last year, saying that they were like, hey, they're trying to leave. Like, it feels like last year. Maybe it was like earlier this year. Maybe like in March or something. Hey, we're leaving when our contract's up. But I can't remember. I can't remember exactly when they said, hey, we want our contracts up. But let's see here real quick. This was. Let's see. Let's see if we can find it real quick. Hold on. Yeah, no, they were posting as well, but yeah, because they were still posting on there. But I'm not gonna take a lot of time on it because I don't think you guys really care about it. But they posted. I mean, Rip Fowler and Jagger Reed. Okay, was this on? All right, whatever. We'll skip it. But regardless, though, I can see them in Impact. I prefer them in Impact. And I think they'll do a great job there in that division because, you got the Bullet Club down there of Chris Bay and Ace Austin, and you do got two men that they face off against each other all the time in NXT UK, and that's Flash Morgan Webster and Mandrews. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But yeah, that is it for our podcast here today. I thank you guys so much for coming out. It really means the world to me. Yeah, tonight, AEW versus NXT. It feels like the fucking Super Bowl is happening tonight. Go out your way to watch it. Enjoy tonight. Enjoy the show. If you're not gonna like everything, that's fine. But just enjoy it for what it is, man. At the end of the day, like, I am not upset by the tactics going between both companies. People are upset on the side of Tony Khan, using the tactics that he's using. People are upset WWE are using tactics that they're using. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. It matters, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like, it's pro wrestling. It's 1 week. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's not going to be the end of the world for either show. So, but anyway, that is it, guys. That is the podcast here. Be sure to leave a thumbs up on the way out. Subscribe to me here on YouTube. Also, turn on notifications bell as well. And, follow me on Twitter, even though it's not working. But follow me on Instagram. That's where you can keep up with me on Instagram. And also, last but not least, check me out on this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that stuff. And last but not least, this lovely podcast here is sponsored by Spine Buster Tees, my company. This is my t-shirt company. Spine Buster Tees, spinebustertees.com. Get your Future Endeavor t-shirt. Get your mommy t-shirt, Rhea Ripley inspired. Get your Vanilla Midget t-shirt. Get your Meltzer Star Reigns t-shirt. It's all there on Spine Buster Tees on spinebustertees.com. The fall sale, fall 10 at checkout. You get 10% off. Free shipping over $40 before taxes at Spine Buster Tees and spinebustertees.com. And what a night it's going to be tonight, guys. We'll talk about it tomorrow. We're going to talk about it tomorrow morning. 8:30 a.m., guys. Be here sharp. 8:30 a.m. tomorrow. And, man, it's going to be a hell of a review show tomorrow. And I don't think, unless there's big news that comes out, I think most of the podcast is just us talking about both shows. But yeah, that is it, guys. You guys have a great day. Enjoy your day. If you're at school, if you're at work, if you're just on your day off, excuse me. I hope I was able to give you a little bit of entertainment this morning. But I'll see you guys later. You guys have a great day. Peace.